What up, aquarium peeps? It's Travis from PsyWAR Aquariums. When we last left off with the 170-gallon display tank, it was in place and ready for plumbing. So let's get to it. Before I started in on the plumbing, I had a few things to take care of. First thing I needed to do was build a new control board for my Apex when I transfer it over to the 170. Then I added an LED light strip to the inner lip of the underside of the tank. This ended up being one of the best mods I installed. Sometimes it's just the little things. Next, I built some stringers to run along the bottom of the tank so I would have some place to attach the plumbing supports to. After all of that, it was time to paint. While all of this was going on, I was in the process of making one of the most important decisions of the entire project. I needed to choose a return pump. I was doing a ton of research and it was between two pumps for me: Ecotech Marine's Vectra L2 or Neptune's Core 20. I've owned Ecotech products in the past and they're always really good and reliable. But after reading reviews on the Vectra L2, a lot of them weren't that good. I was really shocked. Neptune's Core 20 would be perfect for me because I have an Apex and this would integrate seamlessly. However, for a tank as big as mine, I was worried that I'd be maxing out the output of the Core 20. I went back to the drawing board and started doing more research. Little did I realize the solution I was looking for had been staring me in the face since I started in the hobby: Sicce. I've been using Sicce pumps in every single one of my tanks since the beginning. They've been rock solid, even with a less than ideal maintenance schedule on my part. There's no better review than first-hand knowledge. So I went with the Sicce Syncra SDC 9.0. It's a wireless variable speed pump that can push 2,500 gallons per hour. It comes with a 5-year warranty and it says it's Apex compatible, which we'll see about that. So the first thing I needed to do was come up with a plan for plumbing this beast of a tank. I designed the general layout on the computer and used this to figure out what parts I would need to order and how many of each I would need. After 2 separate orders from 2 different vendors, I had everything. I knew I had ordered a lot of plumbing parts, but when all the boxes showed up, I'll admit, it was more than I expected. So I started unboxing all the plumbing parts and getting it organized. I went with Schedule 80 PVC fittings and color-coded pipes. Blue for the return back to the tank, green for the overflow back to the sump, and red for the emergency overflow. With all the parts I needed in hand and a battle plan printed out, now I was actually ready to start plumbing. There's nothing to it but to do it. For the overflow, I decided to go with the Herbie method of silencing my drain. With this style overflow, the standpipe sits about 6 inches below the waterline with a full siphon that's adjusted by a gate valve. After everything was said and done, I was really impressed with what I had built. I filled up the sump with RODI water. Then it was time to crank it up and check for leaks. To my surprise, every joint was completely dry. So that's all for this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you like what you saw and wanted to see more of the 170-gallon display tank build, make sure you subscribe. The next video will be me creating the hardscape in the main tank. You won't want to miss that. Until then, stay fresh, aquarium peeps.